about this NBA in-season tournament. So, the current framework, according to Shams Wojnarowski, is this. The NBA could have an in-season tournament as soon as the 2023-2024 season. Adam Silver has pushed for this, and the success of the NBA's playing tournament and the NBA's Commissioner Cup, except for the trophy, they need to get him a better trophy, have given him the leverage. According to Shams, The Athletic, the NBA has figured out the tournament's in-season logistics and laid out the teams. So the current framework of the NBA in-season tournament, I'll scroll down for you guys so you can read it as well. As soon as the 24 season reports. Cup games through November, 8 teams advance to a single elimination final. In December, the other 22 continue with the regular season. All games part of the normal 82 season schedule. 1 extra for 2 final teams. The NBA and the NBAPA are still working on finalizing the in-season tournament concept, which includes to be determined prizes for 8 teams that advance to the single elimination round, sources say. So again, much like the WNBA Commissioner's Cup, the goal is to blend most of this into the regular season for the teams. For example, a standard midweek Celtics versus Knicks game in early November could be designated a tournament game and take on additional weight. Okay, so basically what they're trying to do is just find a game in the week and just say, boom, this is now officially Commissioner Silver's Cup, or whatever it is. They called it the Cup in the WNBA. I don't mind it because I think it will add a little bit of intrigue to some extent, but it looks like the NBA players are behind it, so I want to give it a chance. But what do you make about it, Pete? Do you think it's a good idea? Bad idea?
God, I'm super conflicted. This might be one of the biggest, I'm so torn in between NBA issues, maybe ever in the history of the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not issue, but discussions.
Yeah.
Because I think it creates a situation where I think people are going to lose focus, right? And in what the real true end goal of every NBA season is, and that's being the champion, right? And I don't necessarily mean the players or the teams. I actually just mean like fans. Like I think there's going to be people who are just ridiculous about this and make it more important than it is. And I think in a certain way, that's kind of like the NBA is almost maybe that groundwork is fun. Like it's fun in concept. And I like you said, I like how much it puts a weight to these games and makes, must watch television in a month that is otherwise maybe not must watch. Right. The problem is, like, how hard are you going to be able to convince these guys to go? And we talked about this before. What is truly the award? Is it the free, you get one free, get out of tampering jail free card, right? I highly doubt it, right? But it would be very interesting to see first what the prize is, what you get for winning this. Because there's already a drawback. If you win the tournament, you're playing an extra game. Even if you make it to the finals, you're playing an extra game, which to some people, you might say it's just one game, shut up. But it is an extra game in an already really long season, right? So that might be a detriment to certain people. Certain people might say, well, do we really want to win that extra game? Does it really matter that much? Maybe not. Ah, man. I like it, but I think it needs to get toned down a little bit. I think it's too much in that format that you just read out. I think that sounds like do we really need a full month of that in the middle of the season? Maybe not, man. I would argue if they got rid of some regular season games and did it that way and kept that format, it would be better that way.
Yeah,
continuing with the 82 games is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very interesting situation because if you think about it, it's basically like having a double jeopardy. You never know when the NBA is just going to decide, boom, this game is now a tournament game. And I think that maybe that's the unpredictability about this tournament. You never know when a game will just be randomly selected to be a in-season tournament game. Like each team has to be like ready and, kind of waiting for the wheel to spin. And then boom, it hits like, Clippers Blazers in a play-in tournament. Again, I'm conflicted too because I think that an in-season tournament is not a bad idea because I think what it does, at least in what this article talks about a little bit, is the fact that it does add some intrigue into the NBA for the first couple months, right? Because we know, and the article says it too, like the first the season doesn't really start for a lot of NBA fans until um until Christmas, right? A lot of people view
Yeah.
Christmas as like the start date for the NBA. And so if you can kind of make some intriguing kind of playoff matchups and things like that, again, the issue is that we also have to think about the Commissioner's Cup in the WNBA. Like I didn't really care too much for it. It wasn't something that I was really paying attention to, other than the fact that the trophy was the smallest thing, and it looked like it was ordered from Amazon Prime, delivered next day because they didn't have a trophy available. That's what it looked like to me. And so, again, can the NBA make an interest for the league? And I just think that it's impossible at this point, especially when you think about what sports are coming up, right? The NFL coming up, you know, as much as we love basketball here on the Charge, we can't deny the fact that that the NFL is one of the most popular sports in America. Like
Oh, it
everybody, and
kills the NBA.
it
Yeah.
just kills them. And it's the same thing for playoff baseball. Like again, you're trying to play these games and tournament games in a season where I just think it's a lose-lose for the NBA. And it really kind of makes me think that maybe the NBA should think about starting at Christmas and ending a little bit later in June or July. Because
Yeah.
I think that that would make the most sense. Because again, not saying that baseball is going to overtake the NBA in viewership or anything like that, but I think if you can get past like playoff baseball, let them do their thing, and then you start the season, then you're only competing with one thing, and that's the NFL. In the NFL, you're only competing on Sundays anyway. You're not competing every single day like the NBA does with their games. And so,
True.
personally, I think that's the better solution, is not to make you can have your in-season tournament, but move the season later in the year. Make Christmas the opening day. I mean, that'd be an exciting thing. I mean, it's the same thing, when the NFL starts, like last week, I was excited. I think everybody was excited. Maybe if people that aren't
Mhm.
NFL guys, maybe they're not excited, but the idea of like opening weekend for the NFL is the biggest hype thing in the world. I think the NBA needs that, and I think if you do that for the Christmas time, you're synonymous. It's the same thing. It's popular in English soccer. Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, for my European viewers. Like
Yeah.
everyone's excited for those games. It's the same thing that you can do for the NBA. Have the Christmas games going on while doing all that stuff, and I think that you would have so much more excitement. There'd be a lot more interest instead of this NBA playoffs starting so early. Start them later. Start them in like June or July, or maybe July. But
Well,
I don't
sure,
know.
and realistically too, if you wanted to make things more exciting, Joe, like I mentioned earlier, just get rid of regular season games. Like that is where people lose interest the most. Whether they think it is or not, that is what happens in basketball. That's what happens in baseball. It even happens for a lot of people in football, which is crazy because there's only 17 regular season weeks. Is there 18 regular season weeks or 17?
Uh,
There's
for
18 with the bye week, right? For the NFL. I'm just saying, like
yeah.
even down the stretch, people lose interest in those regular season games, and there's not many of them. A lot less than the other sports. But if you think of basketball and baseball in particular, that's that slog of those meaningless games for half the league at certain points of the season. That's truly where you lose most of your viewership. You know,
Mhm.
and I can speak for myself. Like I know the way my brain works. If I'm all the way in on something until I start to lose focus, and then if I lose focus, it's hard for me to get back into it. Even if I'm super interested in the thing, it's just like the stop start of it all is hard for me. So I,
Mhm.
I would say if they really truly wanted to do this in season tournament, scratch off some regular season games. Don't do this hybrid thing where you have some teams are playing regular season games, because then think of the viewership for those games. How are you going to have these regular season games for these other teams compete with the in-season games going on? And I would
Mhm.
say that they probably just wouldn't care. They would want you to watch the tournament games because that's what's going to be on the big media channels. But
Yeah.
why would those other teams be playing those games then? Like, just get them off the court. Then you have healthier people for the playoffs, healthier people for this in-season tournament, and
Mhm.
people are focused more on the actual league
Yeah.
throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. I
Creating
don't disagree.
consistent interest. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Sean says, do the tournament. I want it. Whatever Sean wants, he gets. So he'll be,
Yep. All right. I'll
he'll
call
be
Adam.
we're calling Silver right now. We're calling Mr. Silver and we're letting him know that Sean wants it. So it needs to happen. And again, it will happen in the 2023 season. We're going to find out next year, which is crazy to think that next year officially the tournament starts. We're going to find out if it's going to be successful or not. Again, I think it would be interesting if they kind of did it the way that I talked about, which is just, Jeopardy it and just say, hey, today is a tournament game. Suit up. Or just like something crazy. I mean, I know they won't ever do that because they need to keep people in the loop. But, I think it'd be a very interesting situation to kind of find out what's going to be going on there. So, people, let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of an in-season tournament? Are you a fan of it? Are you not a fan of it? And if you are, do you agree that they should be doing it like a Jeopardy? Or should they be telling the players and the team when those games are going to be? Like I said, let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of this in-season tournament?
All right. Before we